I myself am also an immigrant from Mexico, and so there's a lot of parallels. Everything from a border wall separating families, our history of also coming from a community that was also colonized, also faced a lot of oppression. So in summary, it's just the right thing to do, and we're just trying to be on the right side of history.
All right, it's 7:07 right now, still ahead this morning.
Advocates for immigrants at the southern border worried about changes being proposed in D.C. National reporter Stephanie Liebergen taking a look at the impact those changes could have.
And keeping your heart healthy gets harder as we age. In just a bit, Dr. Bitner joining us in studio, sharing some good advice to keep your ticker going.
Don't forget the winter coat, and I would bring some gloves this morning. These are feels-like temperatures or wind chills as you head out. They're down into the mid to upper teens in some areas. Bundle up. Your West Michigan forecast coming up after the break.
Let's get to birthdays. Rory is turning 1 today. Happy birthday to you. Finn is 6. Big smiles for you, bud. Happy birthday. Olivia turning 10, double digits. And we've got Natalie, who is 4 today. Jake is 7. Happy birthday, bud. And Kylie turning 11. I love that picture. Happy birthday. Yanila is 8. What a beautiful dress. Landon turning 4 today. Happy birthday. We've got Carter, who is 9 today. Ben is a teenager, 13 years old today. And look at Avery here with the chain turning 8. Happy birthday to everybody today. If you've got a birthday coming up, we want to celebrate with you. Send us a picture and details to mornings@fox17online.com.
Happy birthday. Have a great day.
During his visit to Washington Tuesday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stressing the need now for more help from the U.S., but aid to Ukraine now hinging on negotiations to increase border security in the south.
Scripps' congressional correspondent Stephanie Liebergen is laying out some of the proposals on the table and why some are arguing the changes won't fix the problem.
For weeks, a deal linking international aid to border security has remained elusive in Congress. President Biden said he's willing to make significant compromises on the border in order to get critical aid for countries like Ukraine approved. But some of the border security proposals have immigration advocates very concerned. The fate of future American support for Ukraine is tied to what's going on at the U.S.-Mexico border.
And it must be addressed. So I've made this very clear. Again, from the very beginning, when I was handed the gavel, we needed clarity on what we're doing in Ukraine and how we'll have proper oversight of the spending of precious taxpayer dollars of the American citizens, and we needed a transformative change at the border.
And that has immigration advocates concerned. Republican lawmakers are pushing for new measures like making it harder to qualify for asylum, putting limits on humanitarian parole, increasing expedited removals, and increasing detention capacity. Immigration advocates like Vanessa Cardenas say those ideas won't reduce the flow of migrants at the southern border.
The reason people come is because there are jobs here, and the reality is that is a powerful, powerful magnet.
She says trying to deter migrants with harsh penalties isn't effective.
I think this notion of expedited removal should be off the table. Any type of family detention should be off the table. I think this notion of closing down the borders should be off the table because, again, we tried those and they don't work.
Ben Johnson from the American Immigration Lawyers Association told Scripps News the best way to reduce the strain on the border is to create more legal pathways for people to get here.
Really, one of the most profound, rapid ways to turn this around is to give people an option of a legal opportunity to come to the United States and work. There are cities and states around the country who need workers.
Johnson also believes lawmakers need to look beyond the border and start tackling the problem earlier.
Most of the policies that are being discussed depend on people arriving at the border and then being processed at the border, making the standard tougher, requiring them to be detained. But we're still basically daring them to come to the southern border, and we're mostly pushing them into the hands of smugglers.
Any deal is likely to include a surge of border resources, like hiring Border Patrol agents and immigration judges, as well as helping the communities who are taking in these migrants. Both Johnson and Cardenas said that is much needed. Stephanie Liebergen, Scripps News, Washington.
Good morning, everybody. It's 7:15. It's a Wednesday morning, already the 13th of December. Quiet conditions outside, but it's chilly. Make sure to bundle up. We've got wind chills that are in the teens. I'll show you that in just a minute. Here's the good news. Continued dry, quiet, uneventful, not only for today, but for the next few days. 40-degree temperatures or better coming in here tomorrow through the weekend and into the beginning of next week. A green Christmas still looking likely. As we look at our live Doppler radar, we are dry. We look at our temperatures. We've got temperatures as cold as 19 in Allegan right now. We're about the freezing mark at the lakeshore, but you move away from the Lake Michigan influence because there's a little bit of a breeze coming off the lake. So those areas are a little bit warmer, but we're down into the mid-20s in many areas. But with a little bit of a breeze that's out there, it feels like 17 in Grand Rapids, 17 in Battle Creek, 15 in Ionia, 18 in Big Rapids. It's not that drastic at the lakeshore, but I will tell you there's frost out there in the car windshields, and it's chilly. Make sure to bundle up. Gloves would be a good idea because your hands are going to get cold fast. There's a batch of some cloud cover that's off to our north and west that's come into our area. From along Grand Rapids and 96 northward, you folks will see more sunshine for the morning hours south of GR, but we'll see a little bit more cloud cover along and north of the I-96 corridor, but we'll eventually break that up and it will lift out of here and we'll go to just partly cloudy skies. Temperatures about where they should be for this time of the year in the upper 30s with a west as a southwest wind about 5 to 15 miles per hour. High pressure is down here to our south. That keeps us dry and quiet. As we go through the evening and the overnight hours, we've got clear to partly cloudy skies with another cold and frosty night down into the mid-20s. And then throughout our Thursday, we're looking at just sunny to mostly sunny skies. Winds will be a little bit stronger tomorrow out of the south and west at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday into Friday, we've got clear and cool conditions. We'll start Friday with some sunshine, but the clouds will kind of thicken up. There's a cold front that's going to be dropping into northern lower Michigan later on Friday and into Saturday. There are some rain and snow showers associated with it up there, and that's going to try to work its way in here. So for Saturday and Sunday, there could be a couple of light showers. I give it only about a 20% chance of that, but the chance is there, but that's not a really good chance. Otherwise, the next few days is going to be dry, and as we head into the beginning of next week, looks dry as well. 7-day planner, 39 degrees today. We jump to 45 tomorrow. We strengthen up the winds just a little bit with more sunshine. 48 on Friday with some morning sunshine, but the increasing afternoon clouds. There's the partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies for both Saturday and Sunday. Just a slight chance of a shower there. We're in the mid-40s, and then slightly cooler air, upper 30s to lower 40s for Monday and Tuesday. And of course, that is the week before Christmas. The rest of that week, it looks mainly dry, and it looks like temperatures are going to be trending above normal by that time. That's our forecast, 7:18. We get an update on traffic now. Here's Rob.
Not a lot going on. We just have good driving conditions with dry pavement all around West Michigan, and no problems when it comes to weather. And few construction zones. We do have one crash. No injuries, though, on 84th Street, just to the west of US 131. That was just reported maybe about 10 minutes ago. And we also have that ramp closure in downtown Grand Rapids. I mentioned construction, but this one is a closure that will last the rest of the week. From eastbound 196 to northbound 131, that ramp is being closed for 24/7 until Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. So the detours to continue eastbound on 196, get off at College Avenue and switch around, get back onto westbound 196 to go to 131 northbound. As a demonstration, here it is, this ramp here with absolutely no traffic on it from eastbound 196 going up to northbound. You can see at the very end of the ramp is where the work is being done by the crew that's already on the scene. I'm Rob Westerby, Fox 17 Traffic.
Right, Rob, thank you. And it's 7:19, still ahead this morning.
If you want to feel full of energy all day long, well, a healthy heart, that is key. So after the break, we're going to sit down with Dr. Bitner. She's here to share some tips on how to take care of our hearts.
Welcome back. Keeping our hearts healthy is something that we hear about a lot, and there's a good reason for it. Our cardiovascular system plays a huge role in our overall well-being and our energy levels. Here with more on this very important topic, we have Dr. Diana Bitner in studio this morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
And right on time, because we need to talk about having more energy, especially during this busy holiday season all year long. We always want to have more energy, and our cardiovascular system, our hearts, really play a big part in that.
I agree, and sometimes when people hear heart disease, it's like, that doesn't apply to me. Mm-hmm. But it really does, because what we're talking about is how to age with energy and being able to do what we want to do as long as we want to do it. And to do that, we have to have a healthy heart and clean blood vessels.
Sure. So it can be scary talking about this. I mean, nobody really wants to talk about their health and what could potentially be going wrong with their health, but it really is very crucial to know your risks.
Got to know risk factors because, again, when that plaque happens, the blood vessels get stiff and they can't open to get blood to that heart muscle to give us energy to go up the stairs or play with our grandkids or whatever it is that you want to do. So it's so important to know our risk factors.
What would some of those be?
So, for example, if anyone in your family had heart disease, especially if they had it early, so if your mom had heart disease before 60, that's a huge risk factor.
Okay.
If you have a waist circumference over 37 inches, if your blood sugar is high, if your blood pressure is high, and if you smoke cigarettes. Those are all risk factors for heart disease.
So it sounds like a few of those that we could do something about. We could stop smoking, we could be more active. How can we act early to get ahead of this?
So number one, it's decide, do you want to? And that might sound kind of, matter of fact, but you've got to decide, do you want to do this and why? So have a goal.
Yeah.
But then it's to be able to change the things that you can. So for example, even if it means to take medication, get your blood pressure in check. You can't fix genetics with exercise, right? Get your blood sugar in control. Keep your weight healthy. Keep your waist circumference less than 37. So there are a lot of things we can do.
Yeah. How does this apply to Jane?
So poor Jane. So Jane came to see me. She was 62, and she was just a lot more tired. She'd go up the stairs and she would get out of breath. She'd have to stop, and she couldn't keep up with her friends on their walks. And she then started having new onset hot flashes. She'd get to the mailbox and have a hot flash and have to stop, get back to the house, have a hot flash. And she's like, I just thought my menopause was acting up. And I said, menopause symptoms don't just come out of nowhere. So long story short, she was actually having angina. She was having chest pain that came out as exertion, as shortness of breath with exertion, and hot flashes. So she had a stress test, it was positive, she had a cath, her blood vessels were blocked, and unfortunately this is a true story, and she had a stent placed and she got a second chance. So she wants us all to know that it's important to act early.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the takeaway tip then?
Know your numbers, know your A1C, know if you could potentially have a CAC, which is a heart test to look for this. So know your numbers and then make a decision.
Wow. Okay. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your health. What can we talk about next week?
We're going to talk about cancer risk reduction.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about my Myriad genetic test.
Okay. Can't wait.
Yes,
We'll see you next Wednesday.
You.
Thank you so much for being here, as always. 7:26 on your Wednesday morning. Still ahead, state prosecutors today will be outlining their case against Trump-supporting Republicans who allegedly tampered with the 2020 election. I'll have a look at the accusations against those 15 people, including the mayor of Wyoming.
Now, Fox 17 Morning News, 15 Michiganders accused of acting as election officials during the 2020 presidential election. What state prosecutors are now saying about the evidence against them.
It's frustrating for us because it changes our whole small town.
Small West Michigan town dealing with a thief. Why the man accused of committing the crimes is still causing trouble despite being in a cell.
Building resiliency, we have to do that by doing education and training.
Being prepared to face an emergency, how a new program is training everyday people to help their community the next time disaster strikes.
You're watching Fox 17 Morning News.
Taking a look at downtown Grand Rapids, traffic moving along smoothly this Wednesday morning. But boy, if you haven't gone outside yet, it is chilly. You might want to throw on your extra heavy coat to leave some time to scrape your car if it's outside, because walked outside, took my breath away this morning.
I know, I just strolled into the newsroom in my sweat still. I didn't want to get into my normal clothes. I could tell it was going to be cold outside, Kevin. But yeah, as you can see, clear skies, quiet morning, but it is definitely chilly out there.
It is, and there's a little bit of a breeze producing an extra chill with the wind chill. It feels like it's in the teens in some areas. Good morning, everybody. We take you to Holland. You can see there's a deck of some mid-level clouds that has moved in there as we look along 8th Street or 8th Avenue there. We're going to see some cloud cover cover from, we'll say, Ottawa, Kent, Ionia counties northward. It'll be a little bit thicker through the morning hours. You'll see more sunshine southward, but eventually we'll erode that cloud deck out of here. We'll eventually all get into mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. Nothing on radar until we have the satellite imagery, and you can see that cloud cover coming in here. It'll go just south of Grand Rapids, but I think if you're probably along and south of I-94, you'll probably stay mainly mostly sunny. Here are the current temperatures, a little bit warmer with a westerly wind off Lake Michigan there. We're about the 30, 32, 34 degree mark at the lake, but you get away from that influence and we are into the middle 20s. That's only part of it. A little bit of a breeze out there. Again, away from Lake Michigan. Feels like 17 in Grand Rapids and Battle Creek. It feels like 15 in Ionia. Bundle up. Gloves would be a great idea on that cold steering wheel and to scrape the car. Here's where we're going over the next several hours here. We're going to have temperatures that are going to jump into the 30s by the time we go through the afternoon hours. We'll see increasing amounts of sunshine. We'll top out around 38, 39 degrees. Maybe some of us touch 40. We'll talk more about what's going to be happening through next week leading up to Christmas. I got some graphics I think you'll find interesting with snowfall totals and cold air outbreaks, or maybe the lack thereof. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, let's get an update on your Wednesday morning traffic at 7:32. Here's Rob.
Rolling on dry pavement, a lot of vehicles now at 28th Street on US 131. Doesn't matter if you're northbound and southbound, it's going to be heavy traffic. And this is the time of the day where we start to get a little bit sluggish when it comes to the speeds. But right now it's 72 miles per hour. And around West Michigan, we are looking pretty good. We have a couple of mishaps that are showing up all of a sudden. We have one on 84th Street just to the west of US 131 and another one on Burton to the east of the East Beltline. That one has injuries, so maybe a little squeeze to get by the scene. And on I-96 eastbound, we have lane closure once again for today that will start slowing you down, but it won't be until the middle part of the day. From the Forest Hill Avenue overpass, eastbound 96 to the Burton Street overpass. Burton Street is open, but they're still doing some finishing work today, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm Rob Westerby, Fox 17 Traffic.
Rob, thanks. Comstock High School is closed today after shots were fired outside the school yesterday. Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office says it happened around 8:30 in the evening when several students and their families were inside the building for a basketball game and nearby concert. Superintendent shared that those shots were fired during an altercation in the parking lot and says no injuries were reported. That incident is still under investigation. If you have information about what happened, you're asked to call the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office.
A threatening call from overseas forcing an evacuation of a West Michigan school. 750 students at Decatur Public Schools in Van Buren County had to leave that building after a threat was called into the police department around noon Tuesday. The students and staff were evacuated to the VFW hall down the street. Michigan State Police bringing in a canine unit for a thorough sweep of that school. Superintendent confirming authorities believe that call came from overseas with the sole intent of scaring people.
There's absolutely no reason for any of this to happen. We're understanding that the bomb threat is coming from somewhere overseas. Someone who doesn't know about Decatur, even if they did, why would you want to do something like this? But I'm very proud of the students, the staff, for reacting so quickly. We were evacuated within minutes.
The district conducts 3 threat assessments per year and says Tuesday's evacuation took less than 5 minutes. There will be school today, but a crisis intervention team will work with students who need counselors at this time. It also follows a similar incident at Belmont Elementary School over in Rockford, where students there were evacuated Monday after someone phoned in an anonymous threat. So far, all of those calls have been unfounded. And today, prosecutors are now expected to make their case against several of the Michigan Republicans charged as false electors in a scheme to overturn the 2020 election.
16 people charged by the state attorney general this summer. All have pleaded not guilty, apart from one man who had his charges dropped after reaching a cooperation deal with the state. Also worth noting this morning that many of the defendants are not denying their actions, but argue instead that they were not illegal. That includes a woman who said in court filings that she was acting at the direction of former President Trump and other federal officers. Preliminary examination slated to begin today for 7 of the remaining 15 defendants, including a former Michigan GOP co-chair and a committee woman for the Republican National Committee. After the examination, the judge will rule if there's enough evidence for that case to be bound over to circuit court.
And the defense rested Tuesday in the civil fraud case against Donald Trump in New York. State Attorney General claiming Trump and his co-defendants fraudulently inflated the value of Trump's properties to get more favorable loan and insurance rates. Trump's attorneys presented more than 4 weeks of testimony to deny those claims. The judge has already found a decade's worth of Trump's financial statements were fraudulent. He will now decide how much Trump will pay and whether he and his 2 adult sons can keep doing business in that state. Closing arguments are now set for January 11th.
And the House could vote on an impeachment inquiry into President Biden as early as today. The resolution is clear of the Rules Committee after a party line vote. Republicans say this move is necessary to force the administration to hand over documents. The White House calls the inquiry baseless since Republicans haven't produced any evidence that he's committed a crime. Back in September, former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy called on committees to open a formal impeachment inquiry. McCarthy alleged at the time abuse of power, obstruction, and corruption concerning Biden family business dealings.
The man police say is responsible for a weekend crime spree in a quiet Fremont neighborhood has now been officially charged with several felonies.
The 47-year-old is supposed to be arraigned in front of a judge Monday, but administrators tell us that James Churchill refused to come out of his cell. This weekend, investigators say a man and woman went house to house, pilfering through vehicles and garages, taking what they wanted. The Fremont police chief says so far there have been 9 reports of break-ins during the early morning hours on Sunday. When police finally got a break, they say it was thanks to communication between neighbors who were looking out for one another.
I also have to give credit to my community. Homeowners knew each other. We're broadcasting and texting each other to, neighbors with neighbors and neighbors, and to let everyone know what was going on. And that really helped us get a good picture, an understanding of what had transpired.
Tuesday, Churchill was charged with multiple felonies related to the string of break-ins. He has an extensive criminal history, including felony armed robbery and breaking and entering. Police are still looking for the woman who was involved, but Churchill will be back in court next week. If convicted, he could spend several years behind bars.
Ottawa County has a new county commissioner. In a 6-3 vote, Kendra Wenzel was picked to fill that District 6 seat, representing now precincts 9 through 17 in Georgetown Township. It was left vacant after Kyle Terpstra's resignation in November. During a public interview last week, Wenzel shared that she currently serves on the executive committee for the county's Republican Party and now believes that there's a lot of crossover between that and the commission role. That term runs through December 31st of 2024. Well, first of its kind team that includes everyday people will now respond to disasters here in Grand Rapids.
The Grand Rapids Emergency Management Administrator says that group will work alongside first responders during an emergency, allowing them to better help families in their time of need when a disaster strikes. Candace Monticelli is here with a closer look at the program and how you can get involved. Candace?
Good morning. Allison Farrell, who runs the Office of Emergency Management in Grand Rapids, says that many people do want to help, but when they don't know how, and they can feel powerless to make a difference. She hopes that this program can change that with the Grand Rapids Community Emergency Response Team, or better known as CERT. Now, it's a national program that educates volunteers in local cities on disaster preparedness and teaches them search and rescue, first aid, and more. Allison says when an emergency takes place, a professional responder can then rely on CERT volunteers to handle what they've been trained to do, freeing up more professionals to focus on more complex tasks.
We need help distributing water in the community after we have a major tornado or storm system like we did in August. And we don't have necessarily the capacity to help distribute things like that. We can call in CERT volunteers to help with that, but in a coordinated fashion. We've had COVID, we've had riots, we've had severe weather.